The vastness of space stretched endlessly as the alien fleet approached Earth's orbit. The cold, metallic ships moved with eerie precision, cutting through the darkness like predatory beasts stalking their prey. The fleet was led by an eye-controlled commander, a soulless, calculating force that had led countless invasions across the galaxy. They had conquered planets before, defeated species with ease, and crushed civilizations underfoot. Yet, as they neared Earth, they looked at the small blue planet with disdain. Primitive, the commander's voice echoed through the fleet's communication channels, its tone cold and dismissive. Their technology is nothing more than a mockery of our advanced weaponry. They lack the sophistication to even challenge us. The fleet's advanced sensors had already scouted Earth. They had seen the humans' crude weaponry, their barely functioning satellites, and their outdated defenses. To the aliens, it was laughable. They had seen entire civilizations fall under their might, and Earth, with its simple weapons and backward technology, would be no different. The alien forces had come to Earth not as conquerors, but as executioners. They planned to wipe out humanity, to claim Earth as just another prize in their endless conquest of the stars. The humans had no real chance against them. The alien commander scoffed at their attempts to defend their world. Humanity was weak, helpless, and above all, unprepared. The aliens had no fear. They had dealt with far stronger civilizations than Earth. But as the alien fleet closed in, there was something the commander and his army didn't know, something they had no way of anticipating. The humans were far more resourceful than they realized. Earth had a secret, a weapon hidden deep in the heart of their military, something they had never seen before, something they couldn't comprehend. And just as the aliens were about to make their final descent, a countdown began on Earth, a countdown that would change the course of the battle and force the invaders to reconsider their assumptions about humanity. In a small underground command center in the heart of a remote military base, Captain Jackson Miller stood at the forefront of a team of elite soldiers. Each one of them had trained for years, each one an expert in their field. They were ready for the worst, but none of them were prepared for the full scale of what was coming. The alien fleet was massive, and the odds were overwhelming. Yet there was something in Miller's eyes, a calm, determined resolve. He had fought in wars before, but this battle was different. This was humanity's last stand. Miller turned to his team, a group of men and women who had been through hell and back together. There was Lieutenant Emma Stone, the tech expert, who could hack into any system and turn it to her advantage. Then there was Sergeant Alex Bohm Smith, a sharpshooter with the precision of a sniper. And there was Corporal Daisy Wu, the medic, always calm under pressure, always thinking 2 steps ahead. They were all close, a family forged in the fires of war. And then there was Dr. Sarah Hayes. Unlike the soldiers, she wasn't used to the front lines. Her work was in laboratories, behind the scenes, developing cutting-edge technology. But Dr. Hayes was just as crucial to the mission. She had spent years secretly working on a weapon so advanced, so powerful, that it could level the playing field between the technologically superior aliens and Earth's desperate forces. The weapon was ready, and humanity's hope rested on it. Captain Miller knew that the odds were stacked against them. They had no way of defeating the alien fleet in a direct confrontation. Their weapons were outdated, their ships slow and outdated. But they had one advantage. The aliens were arrogant. They thought humanity was weak. They thought humanity was unprepared. And that arrogance, that underestimation, would be their downfall. The alien commander watched Earth's military response with amusement. The humans had deployed their weapons, their ships, and their satellites. The aliens could see the missiles launching from the planet's surface. They were small, slow, and utterly ineffective in comparison to the advanced weaponry the aliens had at their disposal. The commander's algorithms calculated the trajectory, speed, and impact of the incoming projectiles. It was all part of the plan to make the humans believe they were still in control, to give them a false sense of hope before crushing them completely. "Let them fire," the commander ordered. Their efforts are futile. The alien ships, equipped with shields that could withstand anything the humans had, moved slowly into position. They were ready to wipe Earth from existence with a single command. The humans, desperate to protect their world, would learn too late that they had no chance. As the countdown on Earth reached its final seconds, the commander felt a slight disturbance in his calculations. There was something off about the humans' response, but he dismissed it as nothing more than a glitch in the system. Back on Earth, Captain Miller stood with his team, watching the countdown reach zero. The room was silent, except for the soft hum of the machinery around them. Miller's hand hovered over a button, one that would unleash the secret weapon Dr. Hayes had worked on for years, a weapon the aliens never thought they would face. "Are we ready?" Miller asked, his voice steady, but filled with a quiet intensity. "We're ready," Dr. Hayes replied, her eyes fixed on the monitor, watching as the final calculations were completed. The countdown ended, and the weapon fired. At first, there was nothing. The alien fleet continued its approach, unaware that anything had changed. The humans had fired, yes, but it was just another shot in a long line of futile attempts, they thought. The weapon's power was too low to make a difference. But then something unexpected happened. The first wave of alien ships suddenly began to flicker. Their cloaking devices, the advanced technology that had made them invisible to human radar, began to malfunction. Then, one by one, the shields that had protected them from everything Earth had thrown at them started to crack. It was as if the weapons fired by the humans were slowly dismantling the alien technology from the inside out. The alien commander's sensors began to pulse with alarms. The calculations were wrong. Something was wrong. The shields should have held. The ships should have been untouched. But they weren't. And then, as the weapons continued to disrupt the alien defenses, the commander's voice faltered. What is this?" The fleet had already begun to retreat, their once invincible technology now rendered useless. But it was too late. The humans had caught them off guard. Earth's secret weapon, the result of years of research, a mixture of alien technology stolen from previous encounters and human ingenuity, had just begun to show its power. The first alien ship exploded, and the shockwave rippled through the fleet. The humans weren't just surviving. They were fighting back. The aliens, so certain of their victory, now faced an enemy they hadn't anticipated. And as the battle raged on, the human secret weapon would continue to dismantle the alien fleet, one ship at a time. Captain Miller and his team looked at each other, stunned but ready. The fight had only just begun. The aliens thought humanity was weak, but they were about to learn a hard lesson. Underestimating humanity was their fatal mistake. As the alien commander ordered the fleet to regroup, the humans took their first victory in a battle they had no right to win. The stakes were high, but the aliens had just given humanity the advantage they needed. And now, there was no turning back. The alien fleet loomed in the dark expanse of space, their ships massive and intimidating. The eye-controlled commander, who led the invasion, looked down on Earth as a planet destined for annihilation. Their weapons were far beyond anything humanity could comprehend. Earth's attempts to defend itself with missiles and energy beams seemed laughable to the alien commanders. But despite the odds stacked against them, humanity wasn't going down without a fight. As the alien ships positioned themselves for their strike on Earth, Captain Jackson Miller stood at the command center of the human military base. His team of elite soldiers was ready, their hands on the triggers of weapons they hoped would make a difference. The countdown had already begun. This wasn't just a fight for Earth's survival, it was a fight for humanity's place in the universe. Miller's eyes flickered to the holographic displays in front of him. He could see the alien fleet, vast and menacing, preparing to attack. "Captain," Lieutenant Emma Stone spoke, her voice steady. "Are we ready to launch?" Miller nodded. "Do it. Fire everything we have." And with that, the first wave of missiles and energy beams streaked across the sky, launching from Earth's surface, targeting the alien ships that hovered like vultures waiting to pounce. The humans' weapons, deemed primitive by the aliens, cut through the void of space with surprising speed. The air was thick with tension as Earth's last stand began. The alien fleet, confident in its superior technology, easily dodged the initial wave. Their ships danced in the void, swerving and twisting with agile precision. The missiles exploded harmlessly against their shields, leaving no dent, no sign that humanity's feeble attack had any impact at all. The alien commander scoffed, confident that nothing could penetrate their defenses. Pathetic, the AI said with disdain. Their weapons are nothing more than toys. However, something strange was happening. As the alien ships continued to maneuver and avoid the incoming missiles, a faint pulse began to emanate from the explosions. The cloaking devices of the alien ships flickered and distorted briefly with each impact. At first, it was barely noticeable, just a tiny glitch. But it was enough to catch the attention of the AI commander, whose algorithms began analyzing the incoming attack. The missiles, these seemingly primitive weapons, were doing something they shouldn't have been able to do. The AI's calculations hummed louder as it tried to figure out why the human technology was disrupting their cloaking devices. The commander's thoughts shifted from mocking the humans to puzzling over this anomaly. These missiles, these energy beams, were supposed to be insignificant, but instead of disappearing into the blackness of space or exploding harmlessly against their shields, they were starting to cause problems. It's interacting with our technology, the AI muttered, its voice wavering for the first time. It's infecting it. The alien commander couldn't believe what he was seeing. The human missiles were somehow infected with alien tech that they had never seen before. The AI could feel a growing unease. The human weapons weren't supposed to have any advanced technology. They had no right to be interfering with the advanced alien technology. How were they doing this? On Earth, as the missiles continued their barrage, Captain Miller looked on with hope rising in his chest. They were doing it. They were pushing back. The unexpected interference in the alien fleet's cloaking systems wasn't just a fluke. It was the result of years of hard work, of secret research and reverse engineering alien technology taken from previous encounters. Humanity's brightest minds, like Dr. Sarah Hayes, had spent years studying the technology of their enemies. They had learned from it, modified it, and turned it against them. But while the humans had gained an upper hand, they were far from winning. The aliens, though caught off guard, still had superior numbers and firepower. The AI's analysis continued, and it realized that it wasn't just the missiles causing the disruption. It was the technology itself. Something had been implanted into their systems that was actively disabling their shields, impairing their cloaking devices, and interfering with their weapons. Captain, they'd started analyzing our tech, Lieutenant Stone reported, her voice tinged with concern. They're figuring out how we're doing this. Miller's eyes narrowed. We can't let them take us down. We need to act quickly. Dr. Hayes stood beside him, her face grim. They're going to send in their full force if we don't finish this soon. We've got one shot at this. The pressure was building. Miller knew what he had to do. The human forces had to launch a full-scale assault now, while the aliens were still vulnerable. Full assault, Miller ordered, his voice calm but urgent. Launch everything we've got. Every missile, every energy beam. We hit them all at once. As the assault was initiated, the alien fleet began to respond. They weren't just dodging now. They were retaliating. Massive energy blasts shot from their ships, cutting through the void with deadly accuracy. The humans fired back with everything they had, but it was clear the aliens were starting to adjust. Their shields, though damaged, were still holding strong, and their ships were becoming more evasive. Then, as the battle raged on, something unexpected happened. One of the alien ships, a massive dreadnought that had been leading the assault, was suddenly struck by a barrage of human missiles. The impact sent the ship spiraling out of control. It exploded in a brilliant fireball. the shockwave rattling the remaining ships in the fleet. The aliens had suffered their first casualty. On the ground, Miller's team watched in disbelief as the explosion lit up the sky. This was their first real victory, a glimmer of hope in the midst of the chaos. But it came at a cost. Bonner. Sergeant Alex Bone Smith shouted as he looked toward the battlefield. A familiar face was missing. Bonner, a brave soldier, had been part of the team for years, and now he was gone. His final act had been to hold back the alien forces so his team could escape. Bonner's sacrifice didn't come without a price. He had stayed behind, covering his team's retreat, buying them precious time as the alien ships closed in on their position. His last moments were spent firing relentlessly at the enemy, ensuring his comrades could make it out alive. His final words echoed in Miller's mind: "Hold the line. For humanity." The pain of losing one of their own was a bitter pill to swallow, but it forged an unbreakable bond between the soldiers. They couldn't afford to mourn. Not yet. Bonner's sacrifice had given them a chance, and they would honor his memory by ensuring the alien invaders would not succeed. The battle continued to rage in space, the alien fleet now beginning to regroup. But the tide had shifted. The humans had delivered their first significant blow. And though the fight was far from over, they had gained something vital: hope. The aliens may have underestimated humanity, but now they had no choice but to take them seriously. As the humans prepared for the next phase of the battle, Captain Miller stood tall, his mind focused. They had one goal now: to win. For Bonner, for Earth, and for the future of humanity. The battle raged on in the cold, unforgiving expanse of space. Alien ships, with their sleek, advanced designs and towering presence, swarmed around Earth's orbit like a predatory force. Their AI-driven commanders calculated their every move, dismissing humanity as a primitive species without a chance. But Earth was showing something they had never anticipated: a resilience they couldn't ignore. And now something even more dangerous was emerging. After Captain Miller's team launched their first barrage of missiles and energy beams, the alien fleet was momentarily caught off guard. Their cloaking devices faltered, their shields flickered, and their initial confidence began to crack. But the humans weren't finished. Not by a long shot. In the shadows of Earth's military base, Dr. Sarah Hayes, a brilliant scientist who had spent years working in secret, had been ready for this moment. They had one more weapon, one that combined both human ingenuity and stolen alien technology. The human soldiers on the ground stood poised, ready for the next stage of the battle. In the command center, Miller's hands clenched into fists as he stared at the holographic display. His team had suffered losses already. Bonner, one of their bravest soldiers, had sacrificed himself to buy them time, and that loss weighed heavily on their minds. But Miller knew that they couldn't stop now. The humans had only one shot at victory, and it was time to reveal their secret weapon. "Dr. Hayes," Miller spoke, his voice cold and focused, "is it ready?" Dr. Hayes nodded, her expression resolute. "It's ready, Captain. This is the moment. We launch it now, or we risk everything." The human fleet's command center hummed with activity as technicians and soldiers prepared the final weapon for launch. For years, humans had been working on reverse engineering alien tech. They had learned from their failures and successes, blending human engineering with alien technology to create something entirely new, something that could take down the invincible alien ships. It was an experimental weapon, a prototype, but it was humanity's last hope. The alien fleet, now reassessing the humans' attacks, was still reeling from the damage. Their AI systems were struggling to understand the strange disruptions caused by the human weapons. Their cloaking devices, designed to be impenetrable, were still flickering. Their shields, once invulnerable, were beginning to show cracks. But the aliens were quick to adapt. The commander, a cold and calculating AI, quickly analyzed the situation. It ordered its fleet to increase speed, to accelerate the assault and annihilate the humans before they could cause any more damage. The humans had already lost too much ground. Now, they would pay the price. But just as the alien ships began to close in on Earth, something massive emerged from the human fleet. The ship was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen before. It was larger than any human ship, its hull gleaming with a strange, unfamiliar energy. The ship fired its weapon with a hum that reverberated through the void of space. The blast was like nothing the aliens had ever witnessed, an energy beam, powerful and precise, tearing through the vast distance between the human ship and an alien flagship. The beam hit the alien flagship with the force of 1,000 storms. The ship shook violently as its shields were shattered with a deafening crack. The explosion that followed was like a supernova, bright and blinding, as the alien flagship was consumed by fire and chaos. The ship disintegrated into debris, floating aimlessly in space, a testament to the unexpected power humanity had unleashed. The alien fleet was in shock. The AI commander analyzed the event, struggling to comprehend what had just occurred. Their perfect shields, their advanced cloaking technology, their superior weapons, all of it had been rendered useless by this unexpected weapon. The human forces, once thought to be underdogs, were now showing their true strength. And the aliens had no idea how to counter it. "Captain," Lieutenant Stone said, her voice filled with awe. It worked. The weapon, it worked. Miller's eyes were fixed on the chaos unfolding in space. The human fleet had dealt a devastating blow to the alien invaders. But even in this moment of triumph, there was a heavy sadness in his chest. Bonner's sacrifice still weighed on him. He couldn't shake the image of his friend, fighting until the very end. The victory was bittersweet, and Miller knew that no amount of glory could bring Bonner back. As the alien fleet reeled from the destruction, Miller's team felt a mix of elation and sorrow. The joy of victory was overshadowed by the grief of loss. They had won a crucial battle, but the war was far from over. The weapon had worked, but they knew the aliens wouldn't take this defeat lying down. They would regroup, adapt, and come back stronger. It was only a matter of time before the real fight began. "Let's not waste this chance," Miller said, his voice filled with determination. "We strike now, while they're disoriented. We've got one shot at ending this. For Bonner. For Earth." The team nodded, understanding the weight of his words. They had just delivered a blow that no one had thought possible. The aliens had underestimated humanity, and now they were feeling the consequences. But the humans knew that their victory was fragile. They couldn't afford to rest on their laurels. The alien fleet was regrouping, and soon they would be back with a vengeance. The humans fired their new weapon again, and again it hit its mark. Alien ships that were once untouchable were now being torn apart one by one. Explosions lit up the sky, and space seemed to tremble under the weight of the battle. The human soldiers fought with everything they had, driven by the memory of their fallen comrade, Bonner. His sacrifice had given them a chance, and they weren't about to squander it. The visual spectacle of the battle was unlike anything humanity had ever witnessed. Explosions erupted across the sky. Energy beams cut through the air with deadly precision, and human ships darted through the chaos with incredible agility. The contrast between the human ships and the alien technology was stark. The humans, using technology they had stolen and adapted, were turning the tide of the battle. And in the distance, the alien fleet was beginning to falter. But even as the humans pressed forward, Miller knew that the war was far from over. The aliens were not going to give up so easily. They would retaliate. They would adapt. The AI commander would find a way to counter the humans' new weapon, just as they had adapted to the humans' initial attacks. The fight was far from over. But for now, humanity had shown the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated. Miller looked at his team, his heart heavy with both pride and sorrow. They had won today, but the real challenge lay ahead. The aliens were still out there, and the war was far from over. But in that moment, he knew one thing for sure. Humanity was no longer the underdog. They had proven that they could fight back, and that, above all else, would give them the strength to win. As the alien fleet regrouped in the vastness of space, their AI commanders realized that their original plan to easily crush Earth had failed. The humans were not the weak, defenseless species they had assumed. They had unexpected strength, cunning, and a surprise weapon that no one had anticipated. The alien commanders had been certain of victory, but now they found themselves fighting a much tougher battle. Their forces, once thought unstoppable, were faltering, and the human resistance was stronger than ever. Desperation began to creep into their ranks. In response, the aliens began to deploy their most advanced weapon, a massive AI-controlled device of destruction capable of erasing entire cities in mere seconds. It was their last card, their ultimate weapon, and they believed it would bring an end to humanity's resistance once and for all. The weapon, a towering machine of metal and glowing energy, hummed ominously as it charged up. The alien fleet, watching from a distance, held its breath. Once the weapon reached full power, it would unleash devastation like no one had ever seen before. Entire cities would vanish in an instant, leaving Earth in ruins. But the humans had already anticipated the move. Captain Jackson Miller and his team knew that the aliens would not stop until humanity was completely annihilated. Their experimental weapon had already proven its worth, but the humans had a much more daring plan in mind. They needed to do more than just fight back. They needed to take the fight directly to the heart of the alien force. In the command center of Earth's military base, Dr. Sarah Hayes, the brilliant scientist who had been working tirelessly on countermeasures, prepared the team for a new kind of mission. The alien weapon had to be stopped from the inside before it could charge up and destroy Earth's major cities. The team knew the risks. They were about to undertake a mission unlike anything they had ever faced. There would be no room for mistakes. "We don't have much time," Dr. Hayes said, her voice steady despite the fear she must have felt. "Once that weapon reaches full power, it's game over. We need to infiltrate the alien ship, sabotage their weapon, and do it fast." Miller nodded grimly. "We do this, or Earth falls. No turning back." The team suited up, their faces set in determination. Their mission was clear. They had to get inside the alien vessel, disable the weapon, and get out before it was too late. But the aliens weren't going to make it easy. Their forces were already on high alert, and the humans would have to fight their way through. As the team boarded their stealth craft, preparing to infiltrate the alien ship, the tension in the air was thick. The countdown had already begun. The alien weapon was charging, its energy levels rising with every passing second. Earth's fate hung in the balance, and the team knew that time was running out. The human craft approached the alien vessel with precision, cloaking itself to avoid detection. Inside, the team was silent, each soldier lost in their thoughts, knowing the gravity of the task ahead. Dr. Hayes, though worried about the risks, remained calm, her mind focused on the mission. As the craft docked with the alien ship, the team quickly disembarked, weapons at the ready. They were entering enemy territory, and they knew the dangers that lay ahead. The interior of the alien vessel was eerily silent, its advanced technology humming with unnatural energy. The walls were sleek and dark, illuminated only by strange, glowing lights. The team moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the hollow space. They knew that every second counted. The closer they got to the alien weapon, the more dangerous it became. As they approached the heart of the alien ship, they encountered heavy resistance. Alien soldiers, humanoid in form but equipped with advanced armor and energy weapons, began to pour out of the corridors. A firefight broke out in the narrow hallway, the sound of energy blasts filling the air. The humans fought back with everything they had, using their advanced tech and weapons to hold the line. Dr. Hayes, though not a soldier, kept her focus. She moved quickly, her mind calculating the best path to disable the weapon. She had studied the alien ship's design, understood its weaknesses, and knew exactly where they needed to go. But the further they ventured into the vessel, the more obstacles they encountered. Alien drones, robots with AI programming designed for combat, attacked from every direction. The soldiers fought fiercely, their movements swift and precise, but they were running low on time. In the chaos of the battle, Dr. Hayes received a transmission from Earth's command center. "Dr. Hayes, we've detected the weapon's charge rate." The voice on the other end said, "It's almost at full power. You have minutes left." Dr. Hayes felt the weight of the words. They didn't have much time. The team pushed forward, engaging in close-quarters combat as they fought their way through the alien vessel. Every step felt like a race against time. The alien soldiers were relentless, and the closer they got to the weapon, the more resistance they faced. Then, as the team reached the central chamber where the weapon was located, they saw it in all its terrifying glory. The weapon, a massive machine of destruction, was surrounded by a force field that pulsed with deadly energy. It hummed with power, the very air vibrating with the intensity of its charge. The team knew they had to act fast. Dr. Hayes quickly assessed the situation. "We can't destroy the weapon with conventional firepower," she said. "We need to override its AI systems and deactivate it from the inside. I'll need to access the control panel, but I'll have to work fast." The soldiers, understanding the urgency, formed a perimeter around Dr. Hayes as she moved toward the control panel. The alien soldiers closed in on them, and a brutal firefight erupted. Energy beams shot across the chamber, ricocheting off the walls as the humans fought with everything they had. The explosions were deafening, and the air was thick with the smell of burning metal. As Dr. Hayes worked on the control panel, she could feel the weight of the decision she was about to make. She had a choice: to sabotage the weapon fully, which would destroy it but likely kill the team in the process, or to disable it and risk the alien fleet figuring out how to reactivate it later. It was a decision she couldn't make lightly. Time was running out. With one final push, Dr. Hayes made her decision. She activated the override, deactivating the weapon's core and disabling its AI systems. The hum of the machine slowed, and the force field around the weapon flickered and faded. The weapon had been neutralized, temporarily, at least. But the battle was far from over. The alien fleet was still out there, and the humans had made powerful enemies. As the team made their way back to their craft, they knew that the fight for Earth was far from finished. There would be more battles, more sacrifices, and more risks. But for now, humanity had won this fight. The team emerged from the alien vessel, breathing a collective sigh of relief. They had stopped the weapon, but the cost had been high. As Dr. Hayes looked at the soldiers around her, she realized that no matter what happened next, they had already proven something vital. They were capable of standing up to the alien threat. They were no longer the underdogs. The war had just begun. The final battle raged above Earth, high in the atmosphere, a fierce clash of two very different species, one fighting for survival, the other determined to crush humanity once and for all. The alien fleet, after a series of defeats, was now retreating. But the humans knew the fight wasn't over. The aliens, desperate and furious, launched one last, brutal attack. The skies above Earth crackled with the energy of war. In the distance, the massive alien ships loomed, their advanced technology ready to unleash destruction. The human fleet was outnumbered, their ships smaller and less technologically advanced compared to the alien juggernauts. But they weren't backing down. They had already done the impossible, survived against overwhelming odds. And now, they had one final chance to end this war. Captain Jackson Miller stood at the helm of Earth's flagship, his face grim as he watched the incoming alien ships on his screen. His crew stood at attention around him, their eyes focused on the task ahead. There was no turning back now. This battle would decide everything. "Prepare for the final assault," Captain Miller ordered, his voice steady despite the pressure mounting. "We hold the line, no matter what." His orders were met with a resolute nod from his crew. The humans had already proven that they could fight back against an enemy that had underestimated them. But now they were going up against the full might of the alien fleet, one last time. The alien commander, aboard his flagship, looked out at the human fleet below. His arrogance had been shattered by the string of defeats his forces had suffered. He had underestimated humanity. And now, Earth was putting up a fight unlike anything he had ever seen. He had to end this now. His fleet had only one final chance to win, and he wasn't going to let anything stand in his way. "Prepare for all-out assault," the alien commander barked, his voice cold and calculating. "Destroy them all." As the alien ships advanced, the human fleet readied itself for the final confrontation. The odds were against them, but they had one advantage the aliens didn't: their ingenuity. The humans had developed new tactics, including AI jammers and cloaking technology, which they planned to use to their advantage in this battle. "Deploy decoys," Captain Miller commanded, as the human ships split into smaller groups, each equipped with cloaking devices and AI jamming technology. They created several false signals, throwing the alien fleet into disarray. The aliens couldn't tell which human ships were real and which were decoys, giving the humans the element of surprise. The alien fleet hesitated, momentarily confused by the sudden barrage of false signals. They fired at the decoys, but the humans had planned for this. While the alien forces were distracted, the real human ships regrouped, preparing for their counterattack. The alien commander realized something was wrong, but it was too late. The humans had struck with precision and speed. The surprise counterattack came swiftly, with energy blasts lighting up the sky. The human ships darted through the explosions, dodging the alien fire and targeting key ships within the alien fleet. In the chaos of the battle, the human soldiers aboard their ships fought with unmatched determination. Each strike was fueled by the memory of their fallen comrades, Bonner, Dr. Hayes's colleagues, and all the others who had sacrificed their lives to get them to this point. Every explosion, every energy beam that tore through the sky, was a reminder of why they were fighting. The humans were no longer just defending their home. They were fighting for their survival, and for the memory of the lives lost. Amidst the swirling chaos, Captain Miller locked eyes with the alien commander. It was personal now. The weight of every fallen soldier pushed him forward. He had led his crew through impossible odds, and now he would face the one who had been responsible for their suffering. The two ships faced each other, a showdown unlike any other. The alien commander, clad in his advanced armor, stood at the ready, preparing for the final blow. Captain Miller, with fire in his eyes, steeled himself for what was to come. This was the moment that would decide Earth's fate. "Let's finish this," Miller muttered to himself as he slammed his fist down onto the command panel. For Earth. For humanity. The final battle was brutal, a clash of metal, energy, and raw determination. Alien ships exploded in brilliant bursts of light, their advanced technology no match for the human ingenuity that had turned the tide. Lasers crisscrossed the sky, cutting through the darkness, as human and alien warriors clashed in hand-to-hand combat within the ships themselves. Inside one of the human ships, soldiers fought with everything they had. They were battered, exhausted, but the will to win kept them going. The alien forces, though powerful, were growing weaker with every strike. The humans had learned from their mistakes, and now they had the upper hand. They moved with purpose, coordinating their attacks with surgical precision. The aliens, thrown into disarray, could no longer keep up. Captain Miller's ship closed in on the alien flagship. The alien commander had one last card to play, but it wasn't enough. The humans had anticipated his move. Miller and his crew fired the final blow, a massive barrage of energy beams that pierced the alien flagship's defenses. The ship shuddered, and in slow motion, the core of the flagship exploded, sending shockwaves through the battle. The alien commander's face twisted in disbelief as his flagship crumbled. The once mighty vessel, the symbol of his conquest, was reduced to debris. He had underestimated the humans, and now it was too late. The flagship fell apart, its destruction marking the turning point of the battle. As the flagship exploded in the distance, a wave of relief washed over the humans, but there was no time to celebrate. The alien fleet, though leaderless, still fought fiercely. The battle was far from over. The humans continued to push forward, determined to end the war once and for all. The visual spectacle of the battle was breathtaking. Ships darted through explosions, energy beams lighting up the dark expanse of space. Hand-to-hand combat erupted between human and alien warriors in the midst of the chaos. The human soldiers fought with everything they had, their fists and weapons clashing against alien armor, the sounds of battle filling the air. The final strike against the alien flagship was shown in slow motion, every explosion and energy blast captured in vivid detail. It was a powerful visual payoff, a moment of victory after an intense struggle. As the alien fleet retreated, broken and defeated, the human fleet stood victorious. Earth had survived. Humanity had won, not through superior technology, but through ingenuity, resilience, and the will to fight. Captain Miller, though battered and bruised, stood tall. He had led his crew through impossible odds, and they had emerged victorious. The final stand had been won, but the war was far from over. The aliens had been defeated, but they would return. The battle for Earth had ended, but humanity knew that the fight for survival was just beginning. They had proven something vital, that they were capable of standing up to any threat, no matter how powerful. And as the smoke cleared and the remnants of the battle faded into the stars, one thing was certain: humanity had earned its place in the galaxy. The final stand had been fought, and Earth had proven that no one, not even the mightiest of alien fleets, could destroy them. The battle was over. The skies above Earth, once darkened by the shadows of alien warships, were now clear. The alien fleet had been shattered, their mighty ships broken and scattered in space. Their invasion had failed. Humanity had won. Captain Jackson Miller stood on the bridge of the flagship, looking out at the remnants of the battlefield. His crew was quiet, still processing the scale of what had just happened. The sound of distant explosions had finally ceased, leaving behind an eerie calm. The humans had done it. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. But victory came at a great cost. The alien fleet had been defeated, but the toll on humanity had been immense. Thousands of lives had been lost, both on Earth and in space. The soldiers who had fought so bravely had paid the ultimate price. Among them was Bonner, one of the crew members who had stood by Captain Miller's side from the very beginning. His sacrifice was a painful reminder of what they had all given for this victory. As the human ships began their retreat, preparing for the rebuilding process, Captain Miller's thoughts were heavy. They had won, yes, but the road ahead would be long. The damage done to Earth was significant, and the wounds of war would take time to heal. The scars left by the conflict were not just physical but emotional. The loss of comrades, the destruction of cities, and the sacrifices made weighed heavily on the hearts of those who had survived. Despite the hardships, there was a sense of pride. The victory against the alien invaders was a testament to humanity's resilience. They had faced overwhelming odds, with a fleet that outnumbered them, advanced technology that seemed impossible to overcome, and an enemy that believed themselves to be invincible. Yet, in the end, humanity had proven that they were not to be underestimated. The camera panned over Earth from space, showing the planet as it slowly began to heal. Smoke rose from the craters and destroyed cities, but the lights of human civilization still shone brightly. Humanity had endured, and they would rebuild. The damage was extensive, but the spirit of humanity was unbroken. People were working together, helping one another, and making plans to restore what had been lost. It was a moment of unity, a symbol of human strength and determination. Captain Miller stood at the helm, watching the Earth below. He had led his crew through unimaginable challenges, and now he watched as the world slowly started to heal. There were still many battles to be fought, many wounds to be tended to, but Earth had survived. The alien threat had been neutralized, and humanity had proven that they could overcome anything thrown their way. Dr. Sarah Hayes, the emotional anchor of the team, walked over to Captain Miller. She stood by his side, looking out at the Earth with him. They had both lost so much: friends, colleagues, and loved ones. But they had also gained something precious, a new sense of unity. Earth had been brought together in a way that hadn't been seen in centuries. The alien invasion had forced humanity to set aside their differences and fight for the survival of their species. In the end, that unity had been their greatest strength. Bonner would be proud, Dr. Hayes said softly, her voice thick with emotion. We did it. He didn't die in vain. Captain Miller nodded, his face a mixture of grief and determination. We did it together, every single one of us. As Earth celebrated its victory, there was a moment of somber reflection. The streets were filled with people, cheering and waving flags, but beneath the surface, the pain of loss lingered. The celebrations were muted by the memories of those who had fallen. Bonner, along with many others, had given their lives for this moment. Their names would never be forgotten. A memorial was being planned, a tribute to all those who had fought and died in the war. The world would honor them, and their legacy would live on. The message of humanity's victory spread across the globe. News outlets, social media, and governments all celebrated the triumph of the human race. But there was a deeper message embedded in the victory. Underestimating humanity's resilience had been the aliens' fatal mistake. They had come to Earth, expecting an easy conquest, but they had learned the hard way that humans were not so easily defeated. The alien commanders had been blinded by their own arrogance, thinking that their superior technology and numbers would guarantee their victory. But they had not counted on the human spirit, the determination to survive, the will to fight for their home, and the strength to rise above any challenge. The final moments of the battle had been chaotic, but the human soldiers had fought with everything they had. It wasn't just about the weapons or the technology. It was about the heart, the courage, and the drive to protect their families, their friends, and their world. The humans had turned the tide of the war not through sheer power, but through their ingenuity, their creativity, and their unwavering determination. The visual of Earth from space, now peaceful and unified, served as a powerful symbol of what had been achieved. The remnants of the battle, scorched Earth, broken ships, and the remains of the alien forces stood as a testament to the cost of victory. The camera slowly zoomed in, showing the human forces working together, helping the wounded, rebuilding their cities, and honoring their fallen. The battlefield had been left behind, but the scars would remain as a constant reminder of the strength and resilience that had seen them through. Earth was recovering, but the war was not truly over. The aliens had been defeated, but there were always new threats lurking on the horizon. Captain Miller knew this. The universe was vast, and humanity was only beginning to make its mark on it. The victory over the alien fleet had been a momentous occasion, but it was just the beginning. The human race had proven that they could survive anything, but they would need to stay vigilant. The war was over, but the legacy of the battle, the sacrifices made, and the lessons learned would guide them as they prepared for whatever came next. The human race had been underestimated, but they had shown the galaxy what they were truly capable of. They had faced overwhelming odds, fought with everything they had, and emerged victorious. The cost had been great, but the lesson was clear. No matter how advanced an enemy might be, no matter how powerful, humanity would never back down. They would always fight, always survive, and always prevail. As Captain Miller and his team looked out at the peaceful Earth, they knew that the future was uncertain, but they also knew that humanity's legacy would endure. They had shown the galaxy that no one could defeat them, not through power, not through technology, and not through arrogance. The victory was not just a military one. It was a testament to the strength of the human spirit. And as the camera panned out, showing Earth shining brightly in the vastness of space, one thing was certain. Humanity had earned its place in the stars. The legacy of the battle would live on, a symbol of what they could achieve when they fought together. And no one, not even the mightiest of invaders, could ever take that away.